What are you doing, everybody? Hope you're all well. Welcome to another episode of the Sigmacast. I'm your host, Billy Vasily, and today I'm talking with good friend Jack Shand. We have an amazing conversation. It ended up going for 3 hours, so I had to split it in two. This episode today, we'll be looking at crypto, the things behind crypto, NFTs, humans merging with machines, future cities, future tech, mining asteroids, artificial intelligence, the metaverse simulation theory. Also, we'll be talking about MMA and fighting. Jack's an absolute beast. He's a savage. Some synthwave and vaporwave music. We'll be talking about that too. Hope you guys liked the episode and stay tuned for part 2. Cheers. Cheers, man.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Thank you for coming to my podcast, Jack.
Oh, man. It's long overdue.
Oh, 100%. 100%. For the viewers that don't know, Jack made my intro video. Fucking amazing intro video. Really loved it. Oh. And it's just the perfect visualization of what I wanted. You like full brought it to reality.
Yep.
Yeah, really good.
Oh, man. It was like a lot of fun. That's like, as you know, it's like our vibe. Like
yeah, 100%.
Retro wave.
Yeah.
I was listening to freaking Emil Rottmeier while I was just like making that, like at several different points. Yeah.
It's good that you say that because that's what I listen to when I'm in the car. Driving that GTR. Mm-hmm. So it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
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 Fucking amazing. Your Insta handle is Void Panther.
Yep.
And your website is voidpanther.com.
Yep.
What's your motion design company?
So Jack Shand Design.
Jack Shand Design. Yep. And do you have a website for that?
I do. Currently building my website.
Yep.
So you'll probably see a little under construction thing at the moment.
Yep.
Just because I've got a new portfolio thing. I'm getting out.
Yep.
Looking to building some courses too.
Sick.
So yeah, kind of like a rebranding in a way.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Oh yeah.
Just to keep up with the times, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2.0. It's an upgrade.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah.
Always upgrading.
Always, man. Yeah. Always. Yeah. Do you ever just feel that when you just don't actually, if you aren't actually improving a certain aspect, you feel like you've reached a comfortable level, and then you're like, okay, maybe there is something missing, and you realize, oh yeah, I think I've been too comfortable for a month.
Like
I haven't
a bit of
tried.
stagnation or something.
Just a little bit of stagnation. Even if you're working hard, like you're still like, oh, maybe I need some innovation here.
Yeah. It's 100%, dude. Yeah. I've noticed a lot with doing this podcast. I've also noticed that with the whole painting thing that I do.
Yeah.
Mixing it up, trying new things, spraying, using different techniques.
Yeah.
And we're always learning. We're always learning, and like that's seems to be the whole thing about the universe. Like with this hyper complexification, there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to create. It's just never ending, and I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, big time. And you also, with that, is like the shadow side of that, where there's the danger of being too busy.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, because it is the it kind of is like the kind of the dark side of being productive or wanting to be productive. Is that you feel like you must be always doing something, but like we said before, like sometimes it takes more willpower to do nothing.
Yeah,
like I think it's like that Buddhist quote. It's like relax, nothing's under control.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt like. Yeah. After my aunt passed away. And like I was with her at palliative care when she passed, like, and that was pretty hectic for me.
Yeah.
I took some time off.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about the podcast for like a month, and 2 months went past.
Yeah.
And then when I started thinking about the podcast again, everything just realigned. People were ringing me up saying, "Oh, let's do a podcast." You messaged me, "Hey, let's do it." Everything was ready.
Yeah.
Everything was there, but I consciously took a break from it, just to kind of like deal with the situation that was at hand and just my emotional state and all that kind of stuff. And it's 100% what you said. Like sometimes you just have to do nothing and just sit in that stillness.
Yep.
And you'll get clarity.
Yep.
And clarity is one of the most important things.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Mm.
Yep. Whatever that clarity is, call it a illumination, call it that centeredness, call it the middle way. Like everyone has a different name for it.
Yeah.
You know, the balance, but it always relates to some kind of physical balance. Like, you know, be it literally like I'm not falling over, or or everything just seems to be like I've laid out my bed. Everything's like tidy. Everything just seems like there's a certain symmetry.
Yep.
It can be both literal and non-literal, but I think we're always striving for that kind of symmetry.
Let's talk about how we met. We met a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
It would have been about, I reckon, around maybe 18, 20 years ago.
I was about to say 19 years. 20
yeah,
years.
18,
Yeah,
20. You
yeah,
said 19, mate. We're on the ball. We're on the ball.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, we might have been on 10, like 11, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was painting your dad's house.
Yep.
And Dad brought me along for a little work experience thing.
Yeah.
And me and you ended up going shooting some hoops at the, which basketball court was it?
That was Richmond Flats.
Richmond Flats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Richmond Flats.
That was like our Rocker Park back in the day.
Yeah.
It was like,
that's it. Rocker Park.
Yeah, it was such a street ball vibe there. It was so mad. Yeah.
100%. I grew up in Paran, so right near where the skate half pipe is.
Oh yeah, that's like the Rocker Park of Melbourne, basically.
Yeah. So we went too far away from Summer Jam, exactly.
Yeah.
And we kind of like, you know, just playing some ball, and then I didn't see you for a few years, and then, you know, kind of caught up here and there.
Yeah.
As I would repaint the houses.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we decided to stay in touch.
Yeah.
You know, found out we've got so much in common, dude.
Oh, 100%.
How funny is that, man?
100%.
Yeah.
And you know, we can talk later on about synchronicities.
Oh, dude, 100%.
And like it's a funny thing. It's like you could say, oh, it's because of social media, but I think it's synchronicities actually drove the creation of things like social media.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Social media, such an important tool for human civilization.
Yeah.
Yet such a pertinent distraction.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like a double-edged sword.
Yep. Yep. I think everything is. I think almost all kind of knowledge is like a sword of Damocles, you know, it's just hanging over your head. You know that myth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Everything. So, you know, like every invention spurs the possibility for like either destruction or creation, I think.
True, man.
And human beings are naturally cautious creatures. That's why we've like survived so long.
That reptilian brain saying, "Hey, stay the fuck away from that."
Stay the fuck away. So like, whenever you make something new, it's pretty scary. Like when the classic one is when the telephone first came about. I think maybe just over 150 years ago now or more.
Yep.
There was an irrational and widespread fear that it would be used to speak to the dead. They thought it was literally like a tool of a spirit medium or a shaman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, you know, the person wasn't present at that point in time, so people thought it was some kind of magic.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the earliest fetal stage, what would be social media. It's like, this is probably the first time you get people connected without actually, maybe there was some early approximations of the telephone, but like you have literally instant communication between someone who's there and not.
Yeah.
If this is the first time you're ever experiencing it, part of your mind would think maybe, is this a demon pretending to be my friend on the other side?
Who is this person? What are they doing? How do they know that?
Yeah, how do they know that? Yeah. Because they don't quite, because you imagine the sound quality would have been as good, so it would have sounded like something
all
weird.
muffled.
Would have been muffled. So it's just been like, is that person like in the spirit world?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. That was the first industrial revolution as well. Or was it the first? The first was coal.
Yeah.
And the telegraph pole was the second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that was when the cogs of industry and technology just started to crank over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, full on. Like, the rich would have had access to that and been like, all right, cool, we can use this to, you know, start, you know, the stock market. You know, before then they were using those, what you call it? Those things, and a little bit of paper was coming out.
Yeah, the punch card things.
Yeah, those punch card things. And then they eventually got to vacuum tubes.
Yeah.
And a transistor was a vacuum tube, bro. How crazy is that?
Mm.
A fucking vacuum tube.
I'm pretty murky on the that early tech.
Oh, dude. IBM had a computer that was like the size of a fucking whole building, and it was like 10 megahertz.
Yeah.
And now we're at 4 nanometers.
Yeah.
4 nanometer technology.
It's only getting crazier.
Dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, just doing what I do, the concept of a GPU is in itself pretty nuts, man. Like,
Oh, yeah.
to render what we render in real time in video games would have costed studios like upwards of 10 mil plus a team 4 times the size
How long
to get
ago?
it on screen. Oh, 15 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
Trying to get like 3 seconds of animation in a film like The Incredibles took like a whole building worth of server rooms to bust out 3 seconds of animation, like a month. It's like a month.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Exponential increases in technology, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just in the calculations because they didn't know how it wasn't optimized. They had to just brute force it. But now, just like the computing, it's just getting so much more seamless. Yeah.
Do you see the Moore's law coming to a ceiling, or do you think it'll just continue this 18-month doubling of technology?
I mean, that it's in itself, it's kind of a speculative theory, isn't it? Like where it will kind of end up.
Yeah.
Because you end up, don't you end up start? I mean, my good friend is probably the best person to ask this. He actually does physics and like all these things. So he's probably going to butcher me for even like giving my analysis on this. But because I always end up going very sci-fi every time I ask this.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. And so I talk about the singularity and things like that.
Yep.
The runaway train, as they call it.
Yeah. Were they estimating by 2030 we'll hit the singularity? That's what the rough estimates from people like Ray Kurzweil and other tech heads that are big in the scene.
Yeah.
They were estimating around 2030 we'll reach the singularity when the computer, a CPU, would be as powerful as the human brain.
Wow. Yeah. Whatever that entails, that's a different question.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think. Like, how can they know for sure?
I mean, it is already quicker than the human brain at recalling certain information.
Well, definitely.
Yeah, it's like you can scroll. I mean, like just our computers right now. Like you're looking for a file on your computer. There's like over 10,000 files or more. Only took about 10 seconds to find it.
Yeah.
Well, if you ask me like what we did at that basketball court 11 years ago.
How many hoops did we get?
Yeah, and then like maybe a few hours later, we're like, oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah. The only thing I remember from that day is that the basketball ring did not have a net. They all hood basketball rings, man. They never have nets.
Yeah, man.
The nets get stolen straight away, dude.
The hoodlum snatched that. He snatched that.
Fucking oath, man.
Yeah.
What I was wanting to ask you was crypto.
Yeah.
That is something that is still in its infantile stage. It's, Bitcoin's only been around since 2009.
Yeah.
Since Satoshi, the pseudonym, whichever group created it.
Could have been many people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was a team of people, and
yeah,
the pseudonym was just a name.
Yeah. Probably like a cipher.
Crypto comes from the Greek word kryptos, meaning hidden. And I see this new technology becoming more and more powerful. I don't see it going away.
No.
You don't see it going away either?
Not at all. Yeah. Just in my travels this year, like you go to certain places in Europe, and like it's like it's not even a discussion if like is it gonna work? They're just using it.
Yeah.
It's like
so many different countries are using it. That's what I noticed when in my travels as well.
Yeah.
In Australia, we're very far away.
Yeah.
We're very far away from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And we're in our own little bubble. So even though we had access to computing before the rest of the world, I feel like we kind of got caught up in our own bubble. And for a lot of people, they just dismissed it as, this is some bullshit, internet money, whatever. And then the rest of the world actually picked up on it.
Yeah.
And it's now at a level now where I don't see like the main ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum. They're probably the only two I'd actively invest in.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after I lost a bit of money in Luna.
Oh, you're probably not the worst case. Yeah.
I've got a few friends that lost a lot of money in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear the story.
Oh, dude.
Among many.
It's that no one. Oh, look. Some people saw it coming.
Yeah.
Others didn't.
Yeah.
But there's lessons to be learned from that.
100%. There was definitely like a kind of forced ignorance, like this kind of thing where like I know it's going to go up, but they knew already that whales. There's a certain whales who like love to manipulate the market.
Of course.
But they're just like, nah, I think I've got it down pat. Like I think I can time the market perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're playing their game.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Funny thing I did was when it started dropping,
Yeah.
I was watching it and it went from $120 to like $10 and to $5.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could be a good time to enter it.
Yeah.
I asked one of my mates who had a lot of money in it. I go, what's the go with this? Is it a good time to buy?
Mm.
He goes, me personally, I reckon it's a good time to buy. I bought a little bit. But I don't know, it could go either way.
Mm.
So I traded out of my Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I swapped some Bitcoin for Luna.
Mm-hmm.
A couple K. And within 6 hours was nothing, dude. And I was like, there's lessons to be learned here. There's lessons to be learned.
It's a couple K, it's all right.
Yeah. I thought I was getting a good bargain.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get a bargain and it was going to recover and everything was sweet.
Yeah.
But my gut instinct was telling me, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, you're going against everything that you know about crypto, and that is everything else is a shitcoin besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everything is just nothingness.
Yeah.
Besides those two.
You'd be quite unlucky to have been burned by Luna though, because it had such a community behind it.
Dude, that's the thing. That's the thing.
It was so backed. There was like there's a clear like transparency as to who was. I mean, I don't know all the fine details, but like there was a sense that like Luna was like this like very trusted stable coin backed by Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that it would never just go below unless there was a certain serious incident, which ended up happening.
Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that's probably one of many chapters that you'd have in any emerging technology.
Yeah.
Like how many? Nothing is completely perfect. Nothing is completely static.
Not at all.
It's suspect to markets during probably one of the most chaotic times in the market since like the last 2008 financial crisis. Like,
legit, yeah.
So many factors at play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People reckon, a lot of people that I speak to, economists as well, reckon that what we're about to go into now is going to be a lot worse than what happened in 2008, especially for Australia.
Yeah.
Because Australia narrowly avoided that recession.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the China boom.
Mm-hmm.
We had our economy propped up by big mining.
Yeah.
And we avoided that.
Yeah.
While the rest of the world suffered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen this time.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? But then at the same time, the money in circulation since 2020 has been expanded threefold.
Mm.
So doesn't that mean that everything should be worth triple? And that's why we're fighting inflation right now? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
This ties back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a deflationary asset.
Mm.
It's not an inflationary asset.
Mm.
This is why I was drawn to it, right? Since its 2009 inception, the mining difficulty has been dropping.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, we're at a mining difficulty of 6.25 Bitcoins per block reward, right? And in 2024, it's going to go to 3.125 BTC for the block reward. And at the same time, so it's doubling the the hardness as well.
Mm.
It's making everything harder, and it's giving you less of a reward.
Yeah.
We saw Bitcoin going to about, what was it? What did it hit? What was its all-time high in the last?
80,000 US?
Was it 80? Was it 80K US?
Was it possibly?
Or was it 80K AUD? I think it.
US, wasn't it?
Not sure.
I remember there was this like time where the excitement was just just
There was a
shockingly
mania.
high.
Everyone was losing the plot. I think
somewhere between 80 and 100K, wasn't it?
I don't think it hit it. I don't think it hit 100.
Yeah.
The most I saw in AUD,
Yeah.
it was in its 80s. It was in the
Yeah.
80s in AUD for sure.
Yeah.
At the moment in USD, it's bouncing around 18,000 to 20,000.
Yeah. For a while now.
Yeah, it's been there for a while. It's a bit of a crypto winter at the moment.
Yeah.
If you think about it, a lot of friends of mine that are in the crypto sphere keep telling me at the moment it's a good time to buy in.
Mm-hmm.
I do see I can visualize it going parabolic soon.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is an inevitability. With everything that's happening with inflation and the markets, and people are kind of pulling their money out, and these are natural cycles.
Absolutely.
When it will jump, that's the question. But I do know that at least a couple months before the halving, that's when the media will start talking about it. They'll have more things, more reports on it. There'll be more Google searches, all that kind of stuff. It'll probably start to gain more traction the months leading up to the halving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably when people will start piling into it, because that's what I noticed in 2020 when the halving happened. Before it started to rise significantly. It did drop when everything dropped back in back in 2000, I think March 2020.
Yeah.
And then it just went fucking parabolic, dude. It went from 4,500 to 80,000. So
yeah, and anyone with their head screwed on right would have known that the honeymoon eventually ends, and they maybe got out maybe 3 quarters before the drop.
Yeah.
And I know people who made a lot of money to just going, well, the summer will be over soon.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. Like those with the full knowledge and have good trade plans and know
Market sentiment.
They know the existence of the whales who just like pretty much just wait for that liquidity, and the cycle just repeats.
Dude, every time I think of a Bitcoin whale, every time I think of a whale, I think of this guy I saw in Japan, right?
Yeah.
So in 2018, I went to Japan.
Yeah.
And I was in like Shinjuku in Tokyo, just walking around, and there was these 2 really fat American guys, big guts, right? Like big pot bellies, and they were just walking around with Bitcoin t-shirts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just big Bitcoin t-shirts, right? And I'm just like, these are the whales.
Yeah.
These just whales on holiday.
Yeah.
You know, they're just going on holiday. They're like, fuck, I don't know what to do. I bought all these Bitcoin when it was fuck all. Now I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just go to Japan. I'll do this, I'll go do that. And they'll just wear Bitcoin shirts.
Just literal whales.
Literal whales.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some guys aren't like Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
They're just like, just random guys. Who knows?
Yeah, fair enough.
So I just keep visualizing that those 2 guys, they just look like the happiest chaps. Yeah. They did not give a fuck about anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was Shinjuku, so they're probably up to some
nefarious activities.
Up to no good.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Happy for many reasons.
Yeah. So the last 5 years of crypto have been pretty intense. I've seen a lot of adoption, a lot of people seeing it as, I want 10% of my net worth in that.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of people adopting it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the next 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years, as in where I think it'll be price wise, or how the general sentiment around it.
I guess the general sentiment of the crypto space, and then possible prediction on the price.
If there's mass adoption, and it comes about seamlessly. I think it will become very tricky when it does become normal, and then the government themselves create their own stable coins and others create their own stable coins, because this whole trend, I mean, it's all piggybacking on the trend about, getting rid of cash in general and making things more digital.
Exactly.
So many and the trend around digital assets in general, you can't just talk about crypto. You have to end up talking about NFTs.
Exactly.
NFTs are also just such a small footnote in what's going to be a larger discussion about like what value is.
Yes.
Where you can attribute.
What is value?
What is value? This is bust wide open. Probably in the earlier YouTube era, before we even talk about crypto, right?
Yeah.
You could have any niche, and if that niche like spreads enough, you could be a millionaire for anything. Like I heard about a girl who's like had a knitting channel who's like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, wow.
It's like the last thing you'd think it'd be.
Yeah.
That was unheard of 30 years ago.
She was an early adopter.
And not that you can't become rich 4 years later on YouTube or something like that, or 5 years later, but it opened minds up. This thing where it opened minds up to this idea that ownership and value attribution can be given to many other things outside of a 9-to-5 job, or in things like gold bars, which seem unattainable for the average chap.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all about, and the market themselves is determined by the interests of the people in question. Yeah. As we get older, these whales we talk about are the guys who kind of maybe grew up like us playing Tomb Raider and shit like that.
Dungeons and Dragons, or Diablo, or Warcraft.
Yeah, it's like probably my brother's generation now, 8 years older, 6 or 8 years older. They all play Dungeons and Dragons. They're like 80s kids, right? And so these big time CEOs are guys who have really eclectic interests. I want to say Vaynerchuk, but Vaynerchuk is like an example.
Yep. Gary.
He's like a 40-something-year-old guy buying Pokemon cards.
Exactly.
And he's making all the big shots. You know? So I think the value system has just been bust wide open, because people can attribute value to nearly anything now.
Yeah, as well as nostalgia.
And nostalgia.
It's huge.
Yeah, and that was the domain of rich guys who said, "Oh, remember that Rolls Royce from the 70s?
I want that now.
Yeah. And so, but now it's we're taking those keys very soon, and so we can kind of go, well, our nostalgia was the digital revolution, really.
Correct.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
The 90s digital revolution.
Yeah. I'm a 90s kid at heart, and I fucking love everything about the 90s.
Video games, N64, PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so some of the biggest NFTs have been around those ideas.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
What do you think about NFTs? You create NFTs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few.
Yeah.
Sold a few.
Cool. How many NFTs have you created?
So I made about 10.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what was it like selling a thing that you created?
Oh, that wasn't I've sold art before, but not in that capacity, because having a bit of crypto knowledge as well made it kind of really cool, because I was just oh shit, so I actually know how to market this now. Artists don't know how to market themselves mostly, but this is the first time where I can kind of go, well, damn, I can market myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've seen some cool stuff that you've made, man. Some really, really, really cool, niche stuff. And I really dig your vibe. It's really, really fucking awesome.
Thanks, bro. Yeah. I mean, look at this place.
It's not bad.
It's like I should be decking my house out like this.
Hey, when you get your own place, I'll paint it whatever you want.
Oh,
mate.
man, legit.
We'll turn it into a fucking cool place.
All right, I'm gonna visualize that every day now.
It'll happen. Hermetic principles.
Yeah.
Now, how's your journey with trading been?
Trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trading crypto.
Good. I don't trade as much these days. It took me away from my art.
I had a feeling because I remember a couple of years ago you were full into it, and you'd post about it, and you with your group and stuff like that. And I've got a few mates that do the same thing, and they absolutely love it, and they're always spruiking it to me, and it never really drew too much of my attention. I feel like it would take away the time that I don't have enough time to do it.
Exactly.
Is that what you felt?
That's what I felt. And it was actually really good for me to go the other way.
Yep.
to realize how much I love what I actually love.
Yeah.
And no, I couldn't love just like trading the markets. It's like it's not a fun thing at all.
It's a very analytical, very
There
logical.
is a bit of surprise me. There is a bit of right brain in there.
Yep.
There is a bit of reading human psychology and stuff like that. And you know, all the trend line stuff that you can relate that to. Fibonacci's. I mean, it's like you can't make this up. It's like vibration is an aspect we talk about here. We're literally looking at brainwaves. That's what we're looking at here.
100%.
And some people trade lunar cycles and shit like that. That's some weird. Yeah.
I'm interviewing an astrologer I think in a month.
Yeah.
She does astrology for trading.
Yeah. There's
for crypto and the stock market. She's got like 20,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's no joke. That's a whole sector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legitimate. She's got her niche and that's what she does.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah. It's real. People are trading to the lunar cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it works.
Sometimes it probably doesn't.
Yeah, man. I mean, if they're into astrology, as above, so below.
100%.
So below.
That's scary, mate. Yeah.
Is that? But yeah, it's really good to have a skill because, like, I learned finances through it. I know I can read markets now, and it's not a scary thing to me anymore.
That's cool.
So the real artists are out there are the ones who can actually understand the full spectrum of life around them, and not live in not think they don't belong in the domain of commerce and understanding, because anyone would know that like the some of the greatest living artists on the planet or creative people were ones who they had a full spectrum knowledge, like the Da Vinci's out there, you know.
Yeah. They weren't just limited to one thing.
Yeah.
They may have been good at that, but they had pursued other interests and, had a real scalable knowledge.
Yeah. Yep. Apply the same principles of learning to anything and you can learn it.
I do 100%. I remember this quote I heard recently.
Yeah.
Someone asked Albert Einstein. They said to him, What is it like? How does it feel to be the smartest man in the world? You know what he said?
What?
He goes, I don't know, ask Nikola Tesla.
yeah.
And I was like, shit.
There you go.
Yeah. Also, I found out another thing about Nikola Tesla. He had gone to India, and he had studied in all the Hindu texts, and he was a devotee of this yogi. Yeah. I can't remember that yogi's name at the moment.
I do remember the name. He was like quite a well-known yogi, wasn't he?
Yeah, at the time. Yeah. He was probably the biggest yogi at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. Like Nikola Tesla, one of the smartest men in the world, but also a very spiritual man.
Oh, I think when you really look at how he expressed what he was talking about in words, it was always spiritualism.
Yeah.
So much of it is spiritualism.
Yeah.
Like he was really into the pyramids, for example.
Yeah, he was.
And like reading into their mathematical properties as spiritual properties, as spiritual law or something. I think there was discussion by Aubrey about the ohm symbol being a 369.
Yeah, I remember that on his latest podcast.
Yeah. I mean, can you explain it better? Like, I mean, if anyone listening,
that was the first time I had heard of it too. He broke down the ohm. I think I can't remember that guy's name at the moment.
Robert Grant.
Yeah, Robert Grant. He had a chat with Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
And that statement blew Deepak Chopra's mind.
Yeah.
He was like, what the fuck? And like he decoded it and it was 3, 6 and 9 in the ohm.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind when I heard it.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone listening, it's like 369. They're like really important mathematical numbers,
of
and
course.
they are reoccurrent in the structure and mathematical composition of the pyramids. And somehow Tesla went down this huge rabbit hole of studying these numbers, which led him to the basically to some degree some sort of akashic knowledge about vibration and like being able to achieve fission technology, like being able to generate energy from anything, from the biosphere.
Wow.
And he thought that the pyramids themselves are not tombs, but power generators, just left there to the sands of time.
Yeah.
by an advanced civilization, maybe, pre-Diluvian.
Could have been.
Yeah.
How old is pre-Diluvian?
Over 14,000, I think.
Yeah.
Younger Dryas.
Yep. So
Yeah.
before Younger Dryas is pre-Diluvian. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would. They say between, like, in that epoch before, like pre-Younger Dryas, sub-Saharan Africa was a friggin' rainforest.
Yeah.
Right.
And Russia.
Yeah. And Russia was a rainforest as well.
Well, they find the bones of warm climate animals there
In Russia.
like big elephant type things.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Something massive happened, man.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to uncover that to this day.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think there's generational trauma as a result of that.
I believe so.
I think the reason why we're a little bit maybe a little bit fucked up is that there was an event that occurred, and the fact that we are so smart but don't understand each other,
Yeah.
and then we see difference and division, even though we knew at one point all the continents were connected and that we are like the same species, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And just even the small things, like I think like seasonal affective mood, people get a little bit sad when there's rain and there's like bad weather.
Yeah.
It's almost like, is that kind of like is that kind of like an unconscious fear of like the flood or something? Like, I don't know.
It's been raining a lot the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And they reckon, as we're doing this podcast, Australia's going to actually get like the most rainfall in like a long, long time.
Yeah.
Like it's raining in the desert right now.
Today was crazy, man.
Today was mental, dude.
Yeah.
There was floods on the road. The road was. I had a field trip. Like I got the Hilux.
Yeah.
I was just driving straight through it.
Yeah.
Water was going everywhere. I was having mad fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other people like had their hazards on and they were like freaking out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could be some generational trauma to do with floods because during that Younger Dryas event, the sea levels rose by over 100 feet.
Yeah.
And all coastal cities were essentially wiped out.
Yeah.
And we see evidence around India with of submerged cities underwater.
Yeah. 30,000 plus years old.
Exactly.
Some of them apparently.
Yeah. And the carbon dating for the pyramids is, the Egyptologists reckon they were 2,400 to 3,000 years old, and they were built by stones and copper mallets or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and like pushed by a cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't seem to understand that. I never did. Even when I read those books in year 7, I was just like, get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? There's like 10 million blocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's there's not 10 million, but there's a lot of them.
Well, even if they were possible, right? And that'd be amazing.
Feat of human fucking.
The next great feat of human willpower is getting a bunch of slaves to do it. It's like when they say, "Oh, a bunch of slaves did it." Dude, imagine.
Wasn't it the Israelites?
So
they would have been like, "Come on, what do we have to do it?"
So the ones you've treated the worst, you have to get a bunch of people to move. Basically they got to pull these 10-ton blocks out of a quarry, right?
Yeah.
Figure out break them without explosives.
Perfect precision.
Move them across the desert sands, and then not only get it to the location, but have it point to true north and almost line up with like Orion and like build a structure which is like basically indestructible,
mimicking Orion's belt
in the freaking like 45-degree plus weather.
Yeah.
You'd have a revolt. You'd have a revolt straight up.
Dude,
this would not get built.
It sounds quite impossible to me.
Yeah. That's a passion project.
And how many generations would that have taken if it was done?
Yeah.
They reckon it was 20 years.
20 years?
Have you seen something like Daniel Andrews is trying to build some metro tunnel thing? He's been building it for at least 10 years now.
Yeah.
It's gone over budget like $10 billion.
Yeah, of course.
He still hasn't finished it. And we've got all the technology we got now. And that's just a tunnel under the ground.
Yeah.
I can't. I personally feel like there was something more at hand. There's ancient knowledge that we've lost.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And on that Giza plateau, something really, really interesting is there's certain writings in one of the enclosures saying that we are the inheritors of this land, like we're custodians.
Yeah.
There was no direct term saying that we built.
Well, that's exactly right.
And also, I think Graham Hancock or what's his name, John Anthony West, like noticed and like showed people that like there's instances where they try to mimic granite, because like cutting granite's like really fucking hard. That's like where they think that you need like laser cutting tools to do it.
Yep.
To the degree to which they did it at.
Of course.
In order to make it look like the old, the newer stuff looks essentially crapper than the older stuff. And the newer stuff, they even try to mimic granite by like painting the rocks to make it look like granite. Like they put little dots on it. So like they got some shitty sandstone and just try to make it look like granite.
It's
like the older
I think Joe Rogan said this in one of his comedy specials. He goes, the people that like the pyramids were there, whatever. There was people. Yeah. They could have been ancient beings, and then they just like picked up and just fucked off.
Yeah.
And then some people like that were left behind. They're like, what the fuck is this? And then in a couple of generations, they're like, yeah, look what we built. Yeah, we built it. Yeah, go us.
Yeah, 100%.
And then, and then they told their children, yeah, this is our, technology. We built this and that. But there could be a possibility that the people living in Egypt inherited that from a previous civilization, and they just decided to set up shop there because there was already pre-existing structures.
100%.
That could have been the case. It's like on the Nile Delta, everything's pretty fertile at that point in time. It just made a logical sense to set up base there.
Yep, and their King's List, which they only take seriously up to a certain point. Like I think it's like in the, I think it's in the Ramesses Temple.
Yep,
I might be wrong, but on the wall they've got the King's List, right?
Yep,
and it stretches back as far as the oldest generations, like Old Dynasty, and then before Old Dynasty, which archaeologists don't take seriously because it like what is described is like characters called like the Shemsu Hor, who are called the followers of Horus, who apparently had flying ships and were like the keepers of the guardians of the pyramids and things like that.
So they wouldn't take that seriously.
They wouldn't take those aspects seriously.
Why is that? Because it doesn't fit into that structured narrative.
Well, because so the whole Western rational thought revolution. I mean, the Enlightenment era always kind of goes, well, what we can practically measure and understand is historical fact. So when we're outsiders trying to study the indigenous people of the land, we take what we can get as physical evidence. Anything they say is not taken seriously about their past. That's what I found, because almost all these indigenous cultures talk about a greater civilization, some of them maybe even extraterrestrial, who gave them knowledge and gave them a kickstart.
Of course.
And almost every single culture on Earth has this story in some shape or form.
100%.
Yeah, which will actually lead us into our
well,
later discussion.
I found that on my trip to South America.
Yeah.
That through the powerful psychedelic visionary brew ayahuasca.
Yeah.
I was able to connect with said deities, which felt like they were the teachers of our civilization.
Yep.
It was quite a powerful experience.
Yep.
To say the least. But it got me thinking. It's like maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's what happened. And like as Randall Carlson says, we go through these cataclysmic events. They occur because that's just what happens. There's asteroids. There's so many things happening that eventually some shit will go down and cause a civilization reset. What I keep thinking is like, all right, we're living in this silicon era where we've got computer chips and we've got this kind of. What did they have last time? I don't feel like it was this. It would have been something completely different. There would have been like when I look at the pyramids of Giza, I see a power source, an energy source. Like I envision that thing with light going straight out of the capstone.
Yep.
Like where the hell's the capstone? It's gone missing. Who's got it? Probably someone's got it and they're just fucking keeping it silent. some kind of energy going straight up. That would have happened on the main and then the two other pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah. They may have been able to have unlimited free energy, using... Have you seen Revelations of the Pyramids?
No.
It's a really, really good documentary. Guys, I'd highly recommend... I highly recommend you just watch it. It's called Revelation of the Pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Really good free documentary. It's just on YouTube. It talks about all the ancient megalithic sites around the world and how they actually create a prime meridian around the Earth.
Ah, yeah. Right. This actually relates to what Plato was talking about. How there's like, apparently there's, you fold it out into different triangular sections or platonic forms, and they all connect to ancient sites or something.
Yeah.
I think there was an Ancient Aliens episode about that, but that's
aliens.
Aliens.
It's funny.
No, but that's a whole discussion, and there's actually like big findings around that.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I'd like to talk about our civilization, right? And where we're headed, because since we've been born, right, 90s kids, we grew up analog, right? It went from VHS, and then computing started to happen. The computer revolution started to kind of happen, and we got to experience that in real time as children, kind of adapting and learning to these new technologies. Then DVDs came. And then they became obsolete with Netflix. And now we're living in a world that is online. This is all new. This is all super, super brand new. Like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have even thought that I'd be able to do this right now. I wouldn't have even thought that this would have been possible. But it is now, right? What do you think on the future of tech, right, and the future of cities? Because the way that I look at it, cities aren't going away. They're only going to become more taller spheres and become more and more powerful, and more people will gravitate towards them. I see humans merging with technology. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think there's a possibility for humans to be able to merge with technology and still have a spiritual side?
Probably more so in some cases. I think guys like Terence McKenna were like really pro-futurist, but also psychedelic.
Yeah.
His DMT experiences were like cyber organic experiences. He said, like, where the cybernetic and the organic are fused in this like super vortex of of like basically spiritual knowledge, saying silicon beings are the same as any other being.
Still has consciousness.
Yeah. And like all of our movies like Blade Runner talk about this pretty extensively.
Yeah.
Which in their way, they're actually they're so postmodern that you kind of go, will cities even exist if we become this internal? I think there's a certain introversion that happens when we talk about technology getting crazier and crazier. So people becoming more, I think people get more into themselves. I mean, we're seeing this with social media right now.
Yeah.
Like there's self-promotion, but there's also like one's finding escape. So that's kind of like anti-city in a way. Like I don't think the whole mega city thing, the cyberpunk mega city thing, I feel like it's too. It's ironic.
Bit of a pipe dream.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic given that that people are in their own worlds more and more. Yeah.
What do you think of the rise of VR?
Yeah, it's coming back, definitely.
It's coming. I remember I had an Oculus Rift when I got my Samsung S8. I think they gave me a free Oculus Rift. I chucked it on and experimented a bit. Got a bit of a headache. I was like, fucking hell, this is wigging me out.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's had leaps and bounds since 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And Meta's investing heavily into it. They're pretty much like all chips in. And they're creating a platform so people will be able to use like Microsoft's also creating their own platform.
Yeah.
So you can chuck on a VR headset and then be at work, so you can work from home, things like that. Do you think that VR will eventually go the way of like Ready Player One? Do you think there will be a market for that? Like a lot of people will gravitate towards it?
Yeah, I mean, the metaverse thing having legs as an idea is pretty, I think gives it a lot of plausibility. Yeah.
And there's a lot of money behind it as well.
A lot of big money behind it, yeah.
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 My little cousins, they're like 9 and 11 years old, and they're absolutely obsessed with Roblox, and, you know, they're just always on their phones. The younger generations, you know, on TikTok, and the attention spans are getting absolutely annihilated, to be honest. I feel like they would be the adopters, whereas like people like you and I would be more inclined to go for a hike or go to a waterfall or have that more of that balance.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like maybe the subsequent generations that come might have a bit of a disconnection to nature as a result.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt about it. That introversion will occur. I mean, for a lot of people, like given 6 months in a lockdown or longer,
a lot of introversion has already occurred.
They haven't left.
Yeah.
That introverted state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of people have been talking about fusion. A lot of people have been talking about mining asteroids. China's gone to launched a rocket and a little buggy to the moon to collect helium-3, which can be used for nuclear fusion. And they've brought it back. What's your take on like mining asteroids and like all that kind of thing? Do you reckon that's like a untapped $1 trillion industry?
I don't know too much about it, but in the sense of if an asteroid with like literally 4 times the Earth's amount of diamonds were to fly by, and someone could just grab it, right? Because this happens all the time. Like asteroids fly by with precious metals.
They're pretty much just all made of precious metals.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. The asteroid itself is a precious like mineral. Like
100%.
Like someone you got a piece of that asteroid? Like I'll give you 100 mil for it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Exactly. It's like remember that Netflix movie that came out last year? It was called Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
And they actually wanted the asteroid to hit the Earth, so then they could mine it.
Yeah.
And make more money.
Yeah.
And then at the last second, they're like, no, we're not going to blow it up anymore. We're just going to let it hit. I feel like greed will probably turn the wheels of motion in that. Like, I feel like if it's possible, they will create a new... Like, because on the Kardashev scale, we're like 0.7. We're not even at 1 yet on the Kardashev scale of like technological progress of civilization. I feel like if we're smart enough to get to higher levels of that Kardashev scale, it's probably an inevitability that we'll have to mine that stuff. Because if we can mine it, why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the goals, the resources will definitely support the goals at hand. If you're able to 100%. Access that, then you can create that, stage 4 civilization where you can build your own Death Star and stuff like that. Because the Earth's resources, Empire, because the Earth's resources won't do that.
No, not at all. Yeah, the only person I can actually see doing that is Elon. But I don't think that will happen anytime soon. You know, there's too many things already that we got to focus on. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence. That's something that's been popping up everywhere now.
Yeah.
And it's gained a lot of traction. Obviously, it's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
You got Google's Lambda AI. which is making leaps and bounds. And there's a lot of people talking about it. Elon saying that it's potentially an antichrist. You know, we got to watch it. We've got to be careful. A lot of people are freaking out over AI.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on AI?
What do I feel about it in terms of like it's like
what do you feel about it?
Inevitable. I mean, we're using it right now. Like it's like even we have a drive towards automating things.
Yeah.
And as the automation gets better, it's like pretty soon it's going to learn how to automate its automations, and whether that's for a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's less the fact that it's neutral in its way means that it's probably nicer than most human beings.
That's true. No one there.
So whether it does something good or bad, it's like it does what it was programmed to do.
Well, that's exactly right.
And so if you create it, if it's going to reflect the consciousness of the people who created it. So if we turn the leaf and become a more civilized people, there's no reason why something like AI can't be something quite amazing
and helpful.
Yeah, and maybe create its own communities and things like that. That seem because like what yeah, like let's go the other way. Like what if it actually is utopian? Like what if it can actually like create? What if it can build those stage 4 civilizations, right? And that it's so explorative that it just goes off on its own journeys, you know. It's like, well, why would it care about us?
Yeah.
Why would it care enough about us to go let's like enslave and like, you know, the whole Matrix thing?
Yeah.
It's like it's a very far-fetched concept to me, I think.
Yeah, I feel like artificial intelligence will be of a positive. It'll be a positive thing for the human race.
Yeah.
Just generalized artificial intelligence would slowly get rid of all the sucky jobs.
Yep.
Which is definitely a good thing. As we've seen through the ages, machinery has, in leaps and bounds, taken away all those real just tough, heavy kind of jobs.
Yeah.
Some people might complain that, they took our jobs.
Yeah.
But
there's always that discussion.
Yeah, there's always that discussion, but I feel like that's an inevitability, and that's why as humans we always have to keep learning, keep adapting, right? The AI is adapting to become better and better, right? But they're helping us get to that level 1 of the Kardashev scale, right? As long as I think there's a bit of fear mongering involved with the AI. Like some people say that, it's going to hit sentience. It's saying it's going to kill people, and like this and that. That's only if people program it to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the only. As long as people don't program it to do that, and then we use it for good, then it'll only be good. It'll be as an assistant to humans.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
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 And if it isn't, it isn't. And maybe we're the 15th civilization to have come this far.
Well, who knows? Maybe we're the biological bootloader for AI.
Yeah.
The organic bootloader for it. We boot it just like in a floppy disk, and then it just takes over. But look, that's a part of the journey, right?
It's part of it. It's like we worry about so many things like out of our, like these fears come about as though we're like Atlas having to carry the weight of these potential calamities in the dark upon our shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's like all you have to worry about is crossing the road and not getting hit by a car. Legit,
or just like looking where you're walking and make sure you don't fall into that hole.
I heard about a guy who died of a fold-out bed.
What?
Yeah, like the Darwin.
It folded on him.
Yeah, it folded.
Fuck.
So like it's like you've got
shit,
very
man.
I mean that it's like it's one of those like urban legend type deaths like you hear in the Darwin Awards or something.
Yeah,
when you read something like that, you kind of like, well, you're very immediate dangers. You can't think about like some. But when you say I'm afraid of like some super intelligent super AI, you might as well be saying like robo god. Like, what can you do against it? It's like why live in anxiety all the time when like your life is so fleeting anyway?
Exactly.
It's like you got about, one of my favorite artists the other day died at 47.
Fuck.
Kim Jong-gi, like guys like photographic brain, beautiful artist. Like this guy probably would have gone into his like 70s and created the most wonderful stuff. And he's world renowned. He's on the way to Comic-Con, had a heart attack.
Jeez.
And so you kind of go, shit, man, that's a guy who lived every day to his fullest. He was just doing art every day. And he became just the goat of it. And like you kind of go, well, shit, man, this only 47. The stuff is seemingly healthy guy. It's like, this stuff is so fleeting. Like, don't worry and be so anxious about things like so like beyond your control.
Yeah.
Even like nuclear war, things like that. It's just like, man, like there's not much time. This is like such a ride. Like,
yeah. Just be in the moment.
Yeah,
be in the present moment. There's yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Like you don't know when your last day will be. Yeah, so you gotta live it to the fullest.
Don't. A fold out bed could fucking jack you at any time.
Dude, 100%. Yeah. You know, like a flying eagle could just pick you up and just take. I don't know. I'm just making up shit.
Dude, speaking of which, Immortal Technique, that rapper.
Yeah.
He posted this thing on his Instagram today, the most gnarliest thing.
Yeah.
A hawk had like eaten another bird on his like windowsill.
Fuck.
Like ripped its head off.
Jesus.
In front of him.
That's rough.
And I'm like,
that's
damn nature, you scary.
Bad day at the office, man. Like, damn nature, you scary.
I was like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's like nature's fucking cruel and shit.
Dude,
like
fucking
that.
oath, man. Like my chickens got fucking annihilated on the weekend, and the fox didn't it had a fucking field day, dude.
Yeah.
It killed the two youngest ones first, and then killed the older ones for fun, for bloodlust, and ripped its heads off and like left them in the backyard. It was bits and pieces everywhere, and then took the youngest ones probably because they had the most succulent meat.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I was just like, a little bit sad, but at the same time, I was just like, man, that's nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do?
Yep.
Anything can happen. Anytime.
And somewhere, I mean, sad about the chickens, but like, somewhere in their genetic code, they kind of go, well, like,
I was built for this.
Not saying that it's like they're not like that, but it's kind of like, well, there's a neutrality. There's this kind of thing where like, the fox doesn't actually hate the chickens at all.
No,
it kind of loves the chickens.
Of course,
in some sense,
they give him sustenance.
And then the when that fox dies, in some great chain of being, the next chickens to rise will maybe be feeding on the nutrients from which the fox's death seeps the earth,
Exactly. Yeah.
And you would know this on your ayahuasca journeys. Like, it's all this kind of cyclical nature.
It's all cyclical, yeah.
So the predator is never really the predator. I think this is talked about in the Bhagavad Gita as well. It's like, you're never actually killing anyone.
Mm.
It's
like... Yeah. It's just that cycle of life.
Yeah. And
that's like, I was doing a bit of... reflection on that.
Yeah.
And I ended up coming to a realization that it is what it is.
Yeah.
The fox would have gone through a hibernation.
Yeah.
It would have had some babies.
Yeah.
The mother is dutiful to her children.
Yeah.
It's her job to make sure, just like the lions in Africa.
Yeah.
Just like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just in an urban environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see in the chickens themselves, in their genetic coding, that they're scared of everything.
Mm-hmm.
They know there's predators everywhere. They can't fly. Constantly on edge. It's built into their wiring. They're scared of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking after them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to build a new chicken coop. Super, super strong, super protective that a fox can't get into.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, they're crafty. Definitely do your research. They're crafty.
Very sly. Yeah, man. I've got a 100-acre park forest thing just around the corner. Yeah. So the fox lives there.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe more than a few.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah. There's probably like 20 of them.
Yeah, I mean we're almost I guess we're kind of bordering on almost like out of the city now, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say. I was just Frankston around the corner. So yeah. Probably about half an hour, 45 from the city.
Close to the ocean, aren't we?
Super close. Yeah. It's just like 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
Which is really cool in summer.
Yeah. Nice.
Um, synthwave. Synthwave. That's my favorite. Absolute favorite genre of music. Dude.
Yeah.
I fucking froth it. It's like all I
genre.
listen to when I'm at work. I'll just chuck on a new artist each day, you know, or sometimes I just play my whole playlist, whatever I feel like. If I feel like experimenting. I was listening to Hyperion today. Really, really good album. I'll link it to you so you can listen to it.
Please.
Yeah, my main artists, I guess, are like Emil Rotmeyer. Shout out to Emil.
Yeah.
We got Wave Shaper, Miami Nights, 1984.
Yeah.
Comtrues, obviously.
Comtrues.
He's a fucking legend.
It's his own. He's got his own little sanctum.
Dude.
That guy.
Yeah, man. I recorded his stuff onto a mini disc. Just so I could listen to it on mini disc. I actually got into mini discs lately.
Yeah.
They're fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
They're super cool.
Yeah.
I'll show you a few later.
Please.
Maximum Love though, that guy.
It's two guys, right?
Oh, is it two guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fucking legends, dude.
They're very good.
They're out of this world, man.
Yeah.
Every song takes you on a journey.
Oh yeah.
They're all different, but this like they're very complex, very, very good.
Man, there's one track, Red Lights, by them.
Oof.
Which
Top track.
I made a reel of that over a Terminator flick. I don't know if you saw that. And
I watched it like 10 times, bro.
Yeah.
That was so fucking good, dude.
I thought it went so well because it's like red lights. It's like the red lights are all over the clip.
Yeah.
And it was like I think the beat was going with a shotgun blast.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely getting the editor to chuck that in while we're talking.
Yeah,
100%, dude.
And I sent that to Maximum Love and they were just like, yeah.
Oh,
just like,
fuck yeah.
They're just like, you get it.
Oh, no shit, man. That's so sick. They would have given you maximum love for that.
Oh, no, man. I almost retired when fucking Power Glove followed me.
Oof.
I was like, Power Glove.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Man, these guys have mega traction too. They got
They
like
do.
a lot of followers.
They do.
Like people fucking love synthwave.
Yep.
It's a big revolution to that.
Especially in LA, man, like places like that where there's certain communities around this music will gather.
Yeah.
Like over here, like we're just away from everything. Yeah. There's only like one synthwave night here I'm aware of.
Where?
Laser Highway in the city.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that existed. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. It's good fun.
Yeah, wow.
But they're not the artists though. They're just like people who just love synthwave.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, one guy's from Sydney. Droid Bishop.
Droid Bishop. I've heard Droid Bishop.
No, not Droid Bishop. Phaserland.
Oh, Phaserland?
Yeah, Phaserland.
Phaserland.
Yeah, he's from Sydney.
Yeah, no shit. I think I've listened to a couple of Phaserlands.
Yeah.
I always thought, like, is it possible to set up a club playing synthwave? How would people dance?
It is difficult because there's not much bass.
Nah.
Some of the more heavier produced tracks have bass. I've personally seen Comtrues twice in person. Like I've been like front and center.
Wow.
While he's just like going hard.
Yeah.
And like
what environment was that in?
That was at Let Them Eat Cake, like years and years back.
Okay.
So like in an outdoor area, no one really knew who that kind of was.
Yeah.
You can't hear that over bass music. Like I think it has a chill vibe.
Yeah.
Like like the Night Drive vibe. It's kind of it's quite eclectic. It's quite it's quite reflective in some ways.
It's very introverted.
Yeah, especially retro wave. Like
Yes.
Emil's music is like
definitely.
It's like late night, like grinding to something creative type music.
I remember I played Emil Rotmeyer's album Descend.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing album, dude.
Yeah.
Really fucking phenomenal album.
One of the best.
I played that at one of my mates' houses when he wanted to do DMT. He wanted to go into a DMT trip.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. And I chucked on his album. And my mate was like, this was the perfect music for my DMT trip, brother. Thank you for showing me this guy. He's a fucking legend. I was like, oh, cool, that worked.
Yeah.
And, he's like swears by Emil now. Like, fucking loves him.
Yeah.
And because I was thinking, I'm like, I only listen to synthwave by myself. Or if I'm working by myself. But it would be cool if you could create an atmosphere, like a chilled out atmosphere. Some kind of like, I don't know, what would it be like? It would be like a kind of like opium den vibes or some shit like that. I don't know. It would have to be some kind of like a futuristic kind of place to go with it to play that music.
Yeah.
You'd have it.
It's
I don't
loungy.
know.
It is.
It's very loungy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you'd have to set up.
Yeah, neon bar.
Definitely.
Darkly lit, but you can still talk to people.
Yeah. It wouldn't be overpowering. You'd be able to have conversations and like a neon bar or something.
Yeah.
But it would be cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people listen to it.
Oh, they do. Yeah. And it's really popularized. Like even like some of the more mainstream artists, it's starting to filter that into their music a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, The Weeknd like comes to mind.
Yeah.
Bieber also has a few more disco-y type tracks, and it's like, I mean, I don't like you don't like the music, but it still just reflects the trend.
Definitely a big trend.
Yeah, and movies like Drive obviously helped spur that revolution. Kavinsky.
Yeah, Kavinsky's a legend.
Yeah.
He's been doing it forever.
But I think the grandfather to that genre in terms of its like modern popularity is like new disco.
Yeah.
Like Daft Punk.
Yep.
And Bag Raiders, even here.
Yep. Bag Raiders.
I might even say the Presets helped. Like their sound, I think, was like, just after early 2000s, they got like really big.
What about Justice?
Yeah. 100% Justice.
French band.
Yep, Justice.
Because I was very into like new disco and like electro.
Yeah.
And then like there was this era of like chill step.
Yeah, chill step.
Remember chill step and like all those kind of artists, and then chill step and dubstep kind of like disappeared. And then synthwave, retro wave kind of started to grow as a result.
Well, I like to think that tell me if I'm wrong, but progressive trance. Very complementary to synthwave. A lot of the beats are very similar.
They are. They're just sped up, yeah?
Just sped up.
Yeah. Just to get that
sense.
160 BPM kind of vibe.
Some guys have even jumped ship from like more progressive to synthwave. I think he's one guy, quite a few. This guy called Michael Cassette.
Michael Cassette?
Yeah.
I was listening to one of his tracks today.
Yeah.
No shit.
He was like formerly a progressive guy.
Yep.
Grum.
Yep. And he jumped ship.
Yeah, well, I mean, their sound has always been like kind of new disco-y.
Yep.
But back in the day, they were like on like, a state of trance, like
ASAP.
Armin van Buuren and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they very seamlessly make that transition, I think.
I guess if you're a really good producer, then you can make that transition.
You can. Some have just gone more towards the clubs with the deep house. But then deep house sounds a lot like synthwave too. Like
exactly.
the night drive stuff.
Yeah. Like one of my mates I was at on the weekend hanging over at their place in Mount Macedon.
Yeah.
And he showed me a couple of new tracks that he's working on. I was like, dude, because he creates like deep house.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of synth coming through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I was playing some synthwave. And he goes, fuck it, these tracks are sick.
Yeah.
I'm like, a little bit of inspo for you.
Big time.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Big time.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about your your career, or I don't know if it was a career or anything, but your fighting, the time that you were fighting in the octagon, caged fighting. I've seen some of your fights, and I have to say that I would never step in a ring with you, mate. I'll tell you that.
I guess I'm pretty good. I mean, I never took it too seriously, man. I had a couple of fights. Like I never like fully went down that route. But
what made you want to get into it?
I always loved martial arts, and I probably went to school like before going to like Wesley, right? Like I was probably, when I was living in America, like there's some pretty rough characters like going to school with.
I bet in America.
People will try to mess with you and stuff. So like I think I got a little bit of angst maybe in my earlier teens, where I just like I gotta learn how to defend myself or something. Yeah.
100%. You're in America. It's a lot rougher than here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Than like, Wesley.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, for fun, we just have like fights like at lunchtime. Like
wow.
Like teachers started realizing we were fighting, so we started just doing body shots only. So you could see
little fight club happening.
Yeah, where they just go like no one's got skill and they're just going hard. And someone who was good at that was like top kid. So like it felt pretty good to be able to, if you had hands, like you're pretty well off.
Oh fucking oath.
Yeah.
When and how did you get started fighting in an octagon?
So I started training. Well, I didn't train there straight away, but on Bridge Road, I noticed a little sign saying like dominance mixed martial arts. I don't even know what mixed martial arts was.
Dominance.
Yeah. So Dave Hart, my coach, jiu-jitsu coach, he originally was on Bridge Road. Like he had this like kind of a small studio, like in that arcade where Coles used to be even.
Yep.
Coles is there now, but like that whole arcade, you know where like Rivers used to be?
Yeah. On the corner near the Macca's and the police station.
Yeah, that was his first locale. So yeah, I walked past it and I'm just like, what the hell is even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Like what is like
BJJ.
Yeah, or even like it was just BJJ or like even like kickboxing. I was like I've heard of boxing, but
what's kickboxing?
Like,
yeah, it's
what does that even involve? Like isn't that just like the ultimate form because you got kicks now as well?
Exactly.
So this is like a dark era. Like so I was only like watching Jackie Chan as like inspiration and stuff like that. And many kids would probably have that from our generation just watching those films.
Yep.
Being
100%.
Like, you know, doesn't matter who you are. Like even if you like every kid like male dreams about becoming like the strongest in the world at least one day.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of
like
course.
What if I was the strongest in the world?
Innate yearning.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was a little bit of a spark to me. And the whole Eastern philosophy stuff as well was introduced to me maybe more towards my like earlier teens or like mid-teens. You know, like Alan Watts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Awesome. And I was just fascinated that there was both like a wildly blissful calm state and then also a brutally stoic side to those Eastern ideas as well. And so you had the samurai, then you had like the Buddhists, and like and somehow they would like coalesce and you'd have like warrior monks and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so cool, man.
Yeah. That is fucking like the epitome of like stoic masculine. Yeah. Yeah. To be able to have that control like the warrior in a garden instead of being a gardener in a war.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So you got movies like that Blind Samurai, you know, like Zatoichi.
I haven't seen that.
It's like one of those cult Japanese things where it's like a blind samurai who's like basically unstoppable. It's like the most frail thinking person is like just a complete savage. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it.
Oh, there's heaps of. I think it's one of those movies that just keeps getting remade. So I think there's so many titles.
Yeah, cool. I'll suss that out for sure.
Yeah.
So, what do you love about MMA and jiu-jitsu?
It's like so many others that I train with will say it. Will say this exact same thing. It's very honest. Like you can't bullshit. Like if you suck at this, you will be shown every night. Like there's no hiding.
Yeah.
And if you're good, you're gonna have bad days.
Yeah.
So like,
bad days.
So you're never actually the king forever. Like, you have very rare instances of like, you know, the Khabib Nurmagomedovs and stuff like that. But like they know they do all their losses elsewhere. Like all the increment, all the character building, all that stuff they had to do was done earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrestling with bears and
Yeah. They apparently had like over 100 amateur fights before he even started fighting.
That would help.
Like not even on record.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So but when he started as like a debut fighter, I think he was already like someone his equivalent of someone who's already been like fighting for 20 years. Like
Jesus. Yeah.
He had that tenacity.
That's the next level, dude.
Yeah.
That's the next level. So who inspires you? Would definitely Khabib. He would.
Not so much Khabib.
No?
Yeah.
Who's your inspiration?
Oh, that's a tough question. Yeah, like initially, like, everyone says Bruce, but it's not Bruce for me. It was the more playful Tekken. I love Tekken. Most of the characters in Tekken, I like try to like embody, you know, like.
Who was your favorite Tekken player?
Kazuya. Yeah.
Mine was Jin.
Yeah, Jin's dope, but he's always very hard to use now. Yeah.
That he is.
Yeah.
What about the guy with the hat? Was that with the sword? Is that Kazuya? No.
Oh, that's a Yoshimitsu.
Yoshimitsu. Yeah, Yoshimitsu, man. He had that one move that you just like stab him with the samurai sword, take like 95 HP off him.
Or you stab yourself and then you do more damage to them if they're behind you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one. Far out.
Yeah.
I just remember like pressing down on the thing. It's just like left, and then square. That was a good
man,
move.
that's OG shit.
Yeah,
Games like Street Fighter and Tekken were actually like huge drivers for me.
Yeah.
And like characters in that, like I was like trying to like, when I was young, I was just like, these are like, I want to feel like them.
Yeah, I would always play those games. I loved them.
Yeah.
But I was more of a, like when I was young, I was more of a lover than a fighter. I was very introverted.
Yeah.
I didn't really like do much for, there was a little bit of Fight Club and stuff like back in the day, just like body shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I never took it seriously to go to another level.
Yeah.
I've been offered to go to train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about giving that a go.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Just the humbling experience of being able to, just prove it to myself.
Oh, dude! Over time, it actually makes you more of a pleasant person to be around.
Yeah.
I find as a result of doing that, I tell you the exact benefits of years of training jiu-jitsu and not even being like that great in there. I'm not the best in the gym by far at all. Like I guess I'm pretty good, but what it's done to my personality is that the usual things where people get into road rage incidents, or like someone looks at them funny in the street
and then they snap.
Or like someone just like doesn't open the door for you or something like that, and so you start ruminating and getting angry, and like that irrational reptile brain.
Yeah.
Basically, don't get that.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'm just like, well, that guy was a bit of a dick, but then
it doesn't bother you.
It doesn't.
You just like shrug it off.
I don't have bad days.
Yeah.
I have low days. Like I have days where I'm like, I probably could go for a run today, or I probably could. Obviously life can hit you in many different ways.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't feel self-destructive as a result of doing this,
That's definitely a major positive, dude.
Yeah.
To be able to really, really just center yourself and just be anti-fragile in a sense. To create that anti-fragility within yourself, that stoic mindset that nothing can really shake you to your core. That's very powerful, man.
Absolutely. And if it does shake, it's just another thing that you must carve your character against.
Yeah. 100%. How long does it normally take for you to recover from a fight? Like when you were fighting?
Oh man, it's like you don't feel it. The adrenaline's so high, but it could take like a week because like you're clashing shins and all that kind of stuff. It's quite insane.
Yeah. It's full on. I saw some of your fights.
Yeah, and it's like it depends. Like I think I came out fine in mine, but I know some guys who have lingering injuries. But it's more from training.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot. Like, training things, like they're trying new moves and this and that, and then just the wrong placement, this and that.
Yeah.
Next minute.
Yeah, I've had a few.
You're taking a couple months off.
Had a few. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your training schedule like when you are competing?
You basically train every day except for Sunday, most days.
6 days a week.
Yeah, 6 days a week, and then sometimes 2 sessions a day.
Yep.
That's when I was doing it. You feel this like full sense of purpose, so that's all you're doing.
Just that one goal, tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
Preparing for it.
Yep.
Who would you love to get into the octagon with? That's a pretty crazy question.
Define.
Considering you haven't been fighting.
Yeah. Justin Trudeau.
Oh, mate, I would pay megabucks for that, dude. I reckon we could raise a bit of money to see you could be in the octagon for Justin.
Man. Yeah.
I don't think he'd agree, but I'd love to see that, dude. Oh, that's classic.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite UFC fighter and why?
Favorite fighter? Probably like who's just like who I just like really like as a person as well. Yeah. I think someone more back in the day, like one of those guys like Fedor.
Oh,
definitely
dude,
up
he's a
there.
fucking animal, dude.
Yeah, Fedor was
He's
definitely
just a
up
brick
there.
shit house.
Yeah. Yeah, easily one of his. He's definitely like the top three.
Yep.
Who else? Yeah, Alistair Uberim. Uber.
Uberim.
Horse meat, Alistair Uberim.
He's a weapon.
Yeah, weapon. And third one, man, that had to be like, maybe yeah, Anderson back in the day too. Yeah, Anderson Silva.
He's a fucking trooper, dude.
Yeah.
He is just longevity to the max.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one that said, yeah, like Muay Thai is something you definitely need to know in MMA. Like, he's just clinching dudes up and just like,
Dude,
no one had an answer for it.
He's yeah. That's a good list.
Yeah.
My favorite is what you call it. Fuck. I got a. How can I not remember his name? He's my favorite. The French guy.
GSP.
Yes, GSP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it confused. GSP, George St. Pierre. He's my favorite. Just like the person that he is, the energy that he emanates and radiates, and his story. Like, and the fact that like in that recent fight, he just didn't fucking give up, dude. He took so many fucking blows to the head.
How long ago was that one?
That was probably about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know that one? Who was he fighting? Was he fighting, was it Bisping?
I think it was Bisping,
I
wasn't
think it was Bisping.
it? Yeah.
And Bisping,
I should know, but no.
yeah, I know, I'm thinking too.
I thought it might have been longer that since GSP last fought.
He hasn't fought in a while. I think is he retired?
Yeah, he's still training though.
Yep.
He's still doing a lot of stuff.
He took that many fucking blows to the head.
Yeah.
And he still took the guy down and he finished it.
Yeah.
Like that amount of dedication and what a powerful skull.
He took a lot of damage.
Mate, I couldn't, like, I can understand why he retired after, you know, he doesn't, you know, he's just trains now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he was on Joe Rogan. He was talking about his life and, like, and bullies and stuff because he got bullied a lot.
Yeah.
I got bullied a bit. I could relate to him.
Yeah.
And how he saw his bully at maybe 15 years after, you know, they left school and everything. His bully was literally on the street begging for money.
Yeah.
And he saw him and, like, he thought in his head, oh, I want to beat the fuck out of this guy. But he felt bad for him. So he was like, come, you know, and he talked and he was just like, oh, you know, you bullied the shit out of me. You made my life hell. But as a result, I became the person that I am today. So in a way, I say thank you. And then he gave him some money. And that guy started crying. Because his life was a shambles. He was completely fucked. But in that moment, that was probably like a massive amount of clarity for GSP. It's just like, wow, that's like the universe working in, what is it? The law of, the principle of potentially causing.
Polarity.
Yeah, polarity, yeah.
Yep. They don't know what that is yet.
Nah. But it was just an amazing story. And I was just like, yeah, wow, this guy is really the real deal.
Big time. And it's using that, I guess, negative reinforcement to some way. Like fighters are incredible at that. Like they use their really shitty circumstances to like raise themselves as like fuel. Like Tyson obviously is like
definitely
the epitome of that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to describe it because it's almost like cliche now talking about like how Tyson like channeled the rage in like his childhood. But the so many of them do that. And it just shows in their like they built their character through that. And their challenge is actually post fighting. Because they can't get another thrill like that. They don't have especially when they're in riches and fame, they have a very difficult time integrating into normal life again and feeling like I got to be like normal now.
Yeah.
I use so much
I gotta
negative.
go back to.
I use so much positive, negative power to like get me here. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. That's definitely like a resource that one can tap into.
Yeah.
Really, really push themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to retire.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Jordan was a great example of a guy who's like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some would say the GOAT. Others would say it's debatable.
Others would say, like, others that knew a person were just like, he's all right. But
Yeah.
I don't really hang out with him. I don't really hang out with him.
Yeah. What advice would you have for others wanting to take up MMA type sports?
Certainly start with the complete, just with a complete mindset of openness and it's not about being a tough guy at all. In fact, you probably lose that whole thing when you start training. Like you learn that pretty quickly that,
There's tougher guys out there.
You're not that tough.
Yeah.
And that's okay because I think you may even be able to like tap into your more feminine side through it because you realize I gotta be gentle in some ways.
Yeah.
In order to actually learn the techniques. That starts opening up other doors in your mind that are more that you didn't think existed because you're not.
Wow.
What you initially thought was that you becoming a tough guy is actually you becoming more holistic. Yeah, especially in a room where everyone can kill each other. Like there's mutually assured destruction. There's a feeling of like.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a feeling of like maybe if I respect someone more, then they'll respect me in kind and they will hurt me less. I'll actually learn something. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
I saw this clip of Joe Rogan mucking around grappling just while they're standing with this massive guy.
Mark Coleman.
Yeah, Mark Coleman. And he was just manhandling Joe Rogan and he just pushed him into a wall and I was just like, holy shit, I thought Joe Rogan was pretty strong, but
you seen Mark Coleman back in the day, bro? That guy's silverback gorilla.
Dude, 100%. That guy can just fucking rip people's arms out.
The whole reason why he did become like the greatest ever was that they removed like kneeing someone in the head on the ground. That was like his game. No, when they removed headbutts, that was like part of his game.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Just headbutting people.
Yeah, he's better at real fighting than sport fighting.
Jeez. That's full savage.
Yeah, full
savage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neck level, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into the episode, guys. In part 2, we'll be talking about the 7 Hermetic principles, Thoth, the Atlantean, and the Emerald Tablets. We'll be talking about psychedelics, and it'll be very spiritually themed. So for you spiritual warriors out there, you're going to love it. So stay tuned. Peace.